It's showtime.
All right.
The champ is here. 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 The champ is here.
Welcome to State Champions Podcast. We live. We back in the basement, a Saturday edition. You know what we do on State Champions Podcast. We discuss people, politics, community, and culture. And what would a podcast be with two great friends without us discussing sports? I'm your co-captain, Raphael Peterson. To my left and to your right is co-captain George T. Ward. But on today's show, y'all know what the hashtag line says. We got a person in the building who's going to discuss politics. He's going to be, why did he come to our community?
Yes.
And also, how should we change this culture in terms of voting in the primary?
Yep.
And that guy that's sitting next to us on the stage, to my right, to your left, is none other than Senate candidate Brother Hill Harper. Man, welcome to the show, good brother.
And co-captain Hill Harper.
Co-captain.
That's right.
We got to
no
talk
question
sports
about it,
too.
man.
We got to talk a little sports.
We'll get something like
I
that.
know we're time limited, but we could do our best. We'll get it all in real quick. I'll talk fast.
No, for sure. And so I think we're going to get right to it, Brother Hill, because make sure everybody tune in. Make sure you call a friend, tell a friend we live in the basement.
That's right. Jump on in. Let's go.
Let's get on in
State
there.
Champions Podcast.
Ain't no question about it.
Let's go.
You're official co-captain.
Here we go.
No question.
First question, because people say, well, if Brother Hill is coming on,
That's right.
first question I want to know, and the people want to know,
That's right.
how did you get to Michigan? And how did you get involved to be in the Senate race?
That's right. That's right. So it starts way back when I was at Harvard. I went to law school at Harvard Law School. Both of my roommates were from here.
Okay.
So one roommate, his name's Charles Boyd. He's now Dr. Boyd. He's got the most successful plastic surgery practice in the state of Michigan. But then he was just at Harvard Medical School.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Boyd Beauties all over Michigan. And then my other roommate, his name was Brian Mathis, and he was dating a girl named Carla Diggs. You ever heard of Congressman Diggs and Judge Diggs?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were dating. They got engaged. And so I had this big circle of friends from here. Folks, a lot of folks went to Cass and whatnot, and Karen Brown, Sawan Loomis, Randy Washington, who went to Michigan State.
Yeah.
And a lot of just good people that I met during my time in grad school. All of them were like, man, you got to move back, move to Detroit, move to Michigan, move to that. So that had always planted a seed in my head.
Okay.
First time I ever came here was when Brian and Carla got married. I came to their wedding.
Okay.
It was at the Detroit Athletic Club, actually, way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I think before they were letting black people in. That's a whole different story. But at the end of the day, had a big circle of friends. And then there used to be a tax credit here for media production, which we need to bring back. It cost tens of thousands of union jobs.
25 years ago?
No, about 12 years ago.
Oh, okay.
There was a tax credit for media and film production. It's cost 10 to 20,000 union jobs for sure. It would have been a massive industry by now here. And so I came and did a couple movies, and it reminded me how great the people are. Best people in the world live here. And I think people who live here full time don't realize that the best people in the world live here. And it's a unique combination of people here. And I said to myself then, I didn't have kids at the time. I said, you know what? I want to raise my kids here because I'd rather have them turn out like people here than people in Hollywood and other places.
Wow.
And so I adopted my son December. He was born December 19, 2015. Started looking for a place, rented a place here early 2016, and then bought my house here on Boston. And I've lived here for 8 years now, and it's been a blessing. And I'll tell you this, and you ask about the Senate, just to make a long story short, I realized quite quickly after being here that the quality of the people is significantly higher than the quality of their representation. in our representation. Our representation is not representing us.
Yes, for
There you
sure.
go.
They are not bringing the resources back to the community. We can drive around any neighborhood and you see boarded up buildings, and you see neighborhoods where all you have is a liquor store where the only thing you can buy are Funyuns, Faygo, Werner, or Hennessy through 3 inches of plexiglass.
That's
and
right.
somehow we're acting like that's okay. It's not okay.
Yep.
And that all goes back to access to capital, access to resources, and the ability for communities to improve upon themselves. We don't have any federal representation going there, bringing the federal dollars back. That's what people send me the Senate to do.
Wow.
So, because I'm gonna be honest, Brother Hill Harper. So when I was wondering, I saw some different. I said, "What is this guy doing here?" So of course I did some research, and you do coming into the Senate. I watched a few of the shows that you were on, and what I found out, and really and truly, is that you really are about the people.
Yes.
You are not one of these guys, because I read something, but I misread it, and it was somebody, they were saying they was giving Hill Harper $20 million to come to Michigan. I said, wait a minute, he been bought and paid for. But that's wrong. Explain that.
Yeah.
Explain
Talk
that.
about it.
I decided to run for the Senate,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not taking any corporate PAC money. Now, PAC stands for Political Action Committee,
Yes, sir.
and it's special interest PAC money, Political Action Committee money. That's what's really crushing our democracy. We can get into that as a much longer discussion. But point is, they offered me $20 million
There you go.
to drop out of the Senate race.
Yep.
And then run and fund the campaign to run against Rashida Tlaib,
Yes,
who's
sir.
the congresswoman of the 12th district.
Yes.
They think everybody's for sale.
Yes, sir.
They think anybody can be bought,
Uh-huh.
and offering the money. They think anybody just wants a position of power. So
That's
they'll
right.
just sell their soul for that. I'm not going for that. I'm running to represent people, and therefore I won't be bought. I won't be bossed. I won't be bullied. Why would I take the money and then I'm owned
For sure.
attempting to do something that is all about the people in the first place, where I've already walked away from a job that was paying me significant dollars? I walked
Absolutely.
away from that job,
Mhm.
Not to become a puppet.
not to become a puppet.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
No question.
So there's no way. It was no way. And so that experience just showed me even more how much I have to fight against these entities that are trying to buy. And I'll say this. Many people think the reaction to the Obama presidency was the Tea Party, but that was the beard. The true reaction was Citizens United in 2010, which allowed for these types of offers to be made. I really blame the system, because you got to understand, Citizens United allows for unlimited corporate and dark money to reign into our politics. And as long as we allow that, and we don't have full-scale campaign finance reform, we are never going to be able to reclaim our democracy.
So, Brother Hill, we got Brother Hill Harper here in the basement, actor, father, now
Live.
political candidate. Now he's doing his thing. And I'm going to tell you, when I looked and saw your history, and I said, wow, brother, Harvard and, Juris Doctor, I was like,
That's right.
he ain't just no throw in.
No. I mean, listen, I'll break down, because people always want to know the resume. Like, well, why? And let me just break it down real quick. So I went to Brown University.
There you go.
Studied economics and sociology, graduated as the valedictorian in my department.
Yes, sir.
I also went to Marine Corps Officer Candidate School, graduated from there in Quantico, Virginia. And then went to Harvard Law School, got my Juris Doctorate with honors, and I got my master's in government from the John F. Kennedy School of Government. I have 10 honorary doctoral degrees. I have 7 NAACP Image Awards. I was the national ambassador for One Fair Wage Movement, which we just got actually a really good verdict from the Michigan State Supreme Court just on Thursday, talking about one fair wage being able to move forward.
I saw that last night.
And also, I was national ambassador for the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, which is about voter protection. National ambassador for Big Brothers Big Sisters. National ambassador for the Innocence Project, which is the reason I'm firmly against the death penalty. Because
Okay.
we know that prosecutors these days are doing what they call layering on of charges and extorting plea bargains. It's just ridiculous. But there's so many things we have to fight. Mass incarceration.
Yes.
We have to get health care done. We got to
Yes.
get women's reproductive freedom done. We got to get John Lewis Voting Rights Investment Act. We got to get common sense gun laws in place. We got to end the filibuster. We got to end mass incarceration. We got to do all these things. And if we keep electing the same type of people to office, none of it's going to get done, because those people aren't representing the folks in the community. That's why folks have to go out and vote.
Yes.
The biggest voting group, the biggest voting block in Michigan is People who don't vote.
Wow.
That's the biggest voting block.
Wow.
And people don't realize if you don't vote, you're voting.
Absolutely.
So you're voting either way.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't vote, you're voting for the establishment candidate.
Yep.
You're voting for things to stay the same.
Status quo.
Status quo. That's they don't want you to vote. That's why both parties don't advertise and educate people about the primary. That's why we have to do things like this. Y'all, everybody comes up to me, man, I love the fact you're running. I'm voting for you in November. I'm
Yeah,
like,
dog,
dog,
ain't
you
gonna
ain't
work.
voting for me in November
Hey,
if you don't
dog.
vote for me
There you go.
Hey,
in
dog,
August.
you better vote for me now.
If you don't vote for me now, I will not be on the ballot in November. And that's how they get
Wow.
over on us. That's in fact, that's what dictatorships do.
Absolutely.
Dictatorships say, hey, we're going to have an election, but we're going to choose who's on the ballot.
So, Brother Hill, you
Wow.
talking about August 6th, the primary,
That's right.
getting people out.
Tuesday.
Critical.
And I saw something, and you mentioned this. Only 10% of eligible voters in Michigan vote in the primary. And that is
Stop. Wait a minute.
10%. G.
10%.
Only 10%. So then,
Shameful.
therefore, what happens is this: Brother Hill is not taking any money. So then, Sloskins, who he's running against,
What
you
you
know
mean?
what happens? They got that big money.
What you mean?
So all they trying to do is stall them out.
That's right.
Kind of
She
like
won't debate.
she won't. We gonna get to that.
Okay.
We gonna get to
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Stall them out. You remember like Georgetown Four Corners? You remember Georgetown Four Corners?
That's right. I
Yeah,
do.
with John Thompson. They
You
was
just,
talking
you just
about.
pass the ball around.
They got that lead. They had them hell of a ball handlers. They start you out. Game over.
Yeah.
So that's a great segue for this, though. We place so much emphasis, especially minorities. And I think it's due to the fact that we couldn't vote for so long. I think the presidential election is such an event.
That's right.
November is such an event,
The shiny toy.
shiny toy for people of color, particularly Black people. But we always understand, we've stressed this for a long time here in this basement. How important is it that we understand that really what's going to impact us and our laws is this vote coming up for our local government? Let's talk about that, because a lot of people don't understand. Even you hear little kids, the only thing they know about government, the only thing they know about voting is now it's a sister versus Donald Trump.
That's right.
It's bigger than that. Why don't you talk to it?
In fact, it's more important than
Absolutely.
the presidency. Let me break it down why. A couple things. Number one, just as a refresher for folks, the Supreme Court rules on the constitutionality of what the U.S. Senate passes. The executive branch or the president either signs into law or vetoes what the U.S. Senate passes. The House of Representatives, or 13 congressional members in Michigan, send a bill to the Senate. The Senate can change it, amend it, send it back, change the title, add things to it, do whatever. The Senate is the most powerful body in all of our politics in the world.
Could you repeat that?
The
'Cause our
Senate
people need
is
to hear
the
this.
most powerful body in all of politics in the world because they control two of the most powerful things. Number one,
Cash.
lifetime appointments of federal judges,
Mhm.
which is super important. And then number two, which is even more important, the distribution of all of our money. The $7.2
Wow.
trillion annual federal budget runs through the United States Senate. And at the end of the day, if we want resources coming back, we need to have a representative in there fighting to get our share of our money back. And this is why it impacts locally. You can elect whatever mayor, whatever county exec, whatever city commissioner, whatever council person. But if they just playing whack-a-mole because they have finite resources, the problem palms up here, oh, we'll send it over there. Now they don't have money for this thing over here, so they don't have money for the education because they had to take the money out of education to do the health care and the mental health. They don't have money. You need the federal dollars coming back so all of a sudden they can expand what services. Now, why is this important? Locally, give you an example. At the corner of Reno and Rossini, 2 young people were shot and killed, 19 others injured.
Oh, for sure.
I went and
Absolutely.
visited every house along the street,
Mhm.
talked to the families, basically heard consistent. These young kids have nowhere to go. They
Yep.
have nothing to do. How come even when it's just a community center, it's just like a kind of an empty building with just brick and it's hollow. No one's there. There's nothing for them to do. It's hot in their house. They don't want to stay in the house. You got to be outside, etc. And so at the end of the day, where's the investment?
Yep.
Pools are closed. Community centers not. And I went to Van Buren Township recently. They have this brand new, beautiful building that's a community center. Every community deserves something like that. I think it's
Absolutely.
great that Van Buren Township has that. Now we have to say, where are the federal dollars to help every community have something like that?
So let me ask you this, because obviously we're talking about the youth and what's going on. George and I'm the director of a youth violence intervention program here in the city. So I'm outreaching the schools. George Ceasefire Detroit, outreaching the community, and they arrive on the scene when you have all this crime and violence. So you get in, and I was just talking to a group of my kids.
How do we get those young people to vote? That's my question.
So here's the new strategy. So here's what we have to do. I have a summer program. They get paid. They doing their thing, Grow Detroit Young Talent. But I was just talking to them about voting just recently. And I said, y'all, who want to be a politician here? Nobody. Maybe one young lady, Peterkin, and she said she wanted to get involved in politics. I said, but what you have to realize is that we don't get involved. No, people are going to be making laws about us.
That's right.
So I heard you talking on another show, and I was telling the young people, this is a strategy that we have to employ. And you said it best. You said what you're going to do, you're going to try to grab this seat here in Michigan. And we got enough people on Facebook and in the city of Detroit around the state that we're going to put the call out.
Yep.
But more importantly, you were saying that if you grab this Senate seat here, and then now you got some friends across the country.
There we go.
And then some brothers look like us. And then now we grab a seat somewhere else and seat somewhere else.
That's right.
Now we start to create this network. And that's one thing that we don't do as a group. We are good individually.
Yep. Collectively.
But we don't tie that web.
That's right. And go even deeper on that. Remember, a U.S. senator can hire between 60 to 100 people based off their budget. And I ask all the time,
wow,
how many people do you know that have worked in these offices? No one knows.
No one knows anybody.
We're going to hire in our office people from the community all across the state of Michigan. People are going to know people in this office. It's not going to be the establishment calling me saying, oh, because this is how it happens now. Such and such raised $100,000 in California. Their daughter's graduating from Georgetown. They need a legislative aid position. That ain't happening with my office.
That's why you didn't take that money.
And that's exactly why I didn't take the money, because they can't call me now, because I'll know who put me in the role is the people. That's the only way I'm getting in. I'm not getting in because of the money. I'm not getting in because of the party. I'm getting in because of the people, and that's who I'll represent. And that's who's going to occupy these jobs. And so less than 0.5% of the legislative hires in Congress, both the House of Representatives and the Senate, are people of color. It's crazy.
Wow.
And these are the jobs that promote you for the future to get great jobs throughout government. So that young lady that raised her hand, she can get a job in the office. That's my point.
Yeah.
This isn't just about send one person off to the Senate and see if they do what they kind of said. This is about all of us locking arms and walking into the seat together. It's a different way and mentality that we have to think about. The opposition's thinking this way. They're playing chess. We got to stop playing checkers and one silo behavior and start playing chess. And this is a way to do it. But it has to go back to voting. We could control the outcome of every election. And it's also misinformation. People, I just ran into a brother's like, man, I got a felony. I can't vote. You can vote.
You can vote.
You can be on parole, probation. You can vote. You can be in jail awaiting trial. You can vote. You don't even need to be 18 by Tuesday, August 6th. You need to be 18 by November 5th. I ran into two young people. He said, man, I don't turn 18 until September. I said, you can vote.
You can vote.
You can vote right now. And so we have to educate, inform, but also let people know early voting is happening today and tomorrow from 9 to 5.
No, we got
many locations. There's a ballot right
We got the official ballot.
Yeah,
we got an official
let's talk
ballot.
about locations. Let's talk about locations again.
And we got to educate people. You can go to hillharper.com and get your location. Can I see that ballot real quick? Because I want to educate folks on this. Now, this is very important. When you go to vote,
you at the top of the list.
First of all, I'm right here. There's two people, me and this other person. You're going to fill in this bubble for me, but then you're going to stay in this column. You can't jump around. You can't jump around. Yeah, you can vote for the judges way over here.
Yeah.
But you cannot jump around and vote in the Republican column or your ballot is spoiled. You got to know that and remember that. So just stay voting here in this column.
Hold on.
Choosing one.
Yeah, he said.
Let me see that. Hold on, because you said you got to choose one. You can't go back and forth.
No. If you do that, your ballot is spoiled. I'm very worried about this.
Wow.
Because a lot of our voters
and I didn't know
that.
I'm telling you, I didn't know that because I'm just looking at a couple different names on here, and I said, "Well, I know them.
I know this Kirshen,
and then we got a person on the back.
And as soon as you do,
Yeah. You can vote for you have to stay within either the Democratic line or the Republican line. Obviously, voting for me, you're in the Democratic line, and then you can vote for the judges.
there you go.
Okay,
Wow.
but if you make a vote in this, if you vote, I got to show the camera.
That's
So
right.
I'm over here in this line, Democratic Party section. You're gonna fill in my bubble. Then the only bubbles you can fill in are all the way straight down. Now, you can jump over here to the nonpartisan section. It says it up here, and then you can vote over here. But you cannot now vote here in this middle section. You cannot vote in this middle section. And if you do, your ballot will be canceled.
Wow. Now I'm gonna tell you, I didn't know that. This is some great information for myself. But I'm gonna tell you why I'm not that part of the process. I just don't like. I'm gonna tell you why. Because everything that Republicans do, I don't dislike. It's some things I appreciate, and it's just, and vice versa.
Mhm.
So I was just thinking, well, what if I liked such and such? We'll just say Linda Sawyer. But if I did that, and that's in just say in House of Representative Congress, I have did that and voted for you, it was going to be all bad.
Right.
So it's over. That's interesting. I didn't know that it
Well,
went like that. I'm glad that
at freshly 54 years old, Rab, the crazy part about that, I remember I did a
I didn't know that.
presentation. I did a presentation on gerrymandering. They used to do that in the South,
Mhm.
and they would switch the boundaries, and they would trick the people.
Of course.
So now you've given us the perceived right to vote, which we have. We got the right to vote, but they'll do some things behind the scenes that we don't know about,
That's right.
that they know about. And if Brother Hill Harper didn't come on the show, I can guarantee you a whole lot of us wouldn't have known that information
That's
right
right.
there.
That's some
And
great.
that's
gotta
really
pay
what I'm
attention.
worried about, because these may be a lot of new voters that we're
Yep.
trying to get in the
young
door.
people.
And they're used to maybe even only voting in a general election. In a general election, you can skip around, but in a primary, you can't. And that's what makes it so
What the heck?
discriminatory, because
It is.
there may be the establishment voter who's been voting forever and done primaries before. They know that by now. But I'm bringing in new voters, and they
Oh,
may
man.
not know that.
We gotta
And
make that a real.
It's
We gotta
it's,
keep putting that out.
Oh,
Right?
that's
We gotta
no,
make that
no,
a
of
real.
course, we're gonna get that. We're
Our-
gonna put that
our,
out for
our
sure.
team made another state champion with us, our brother Daniel Ferguson, who's heavy, deep. Nigga, he's into this politics. Got a good question.
Oh, I didn't get to the questions. Okay, go ahead. See?
The Obama election, we came out in droves, historical turnout, right?
Mhm.
And it kind of goes into what we just talked about. Why hasn't really anything changed after we had him for 2 terms? Why hasn't anything changed? And I guess we can talk about the fact that, again, the presidential election, it has some impact, but very little. Local government, D.
The
Kinda-
biggest impact the president has on legacy is the judicial appointments.
There you
But
go.
remember, those
about
are confirmed by what? The U.S. Senate.
There you go.
And so Mitch McConnell blocked all of his appointments. And Mitch McConnell was where? The U.S. Senate.
Yes, sir.
The U.S. Senate is the epicenter of the power of our government. And that's it. And that's why it's so historic that we have this opportunity to grab this seat. Listen to what I'm about to say. There's been a higher percentage of Black U.S. presidents than the percentage of Black U.S. senators.
Wow.
Hold on. Wait,
Say
stop.
that
There's
one
been
more
a
time and
higher
say it
percentage
slower.
of Black
Stop.
U.S. presidents
Uh-oh.
than Black U.S. senators, because I'm telling you, the Senate is the most powerful and coveted seat. There's only been 12 Black U.S. senators in the history of our democracy.
Mm.
Okay? That's 12 out of 2003. That's 0.5%. There's been 1 out of 46. 2.2%.
Wow.
It's a significant difference.
Wow.
And there very well may be 2 out of 47 in a second.
Listen,
and
folks.
so here's the deal.
Yes.
Even if we had 12 Black U.S. senators at this second, we've only had 12 in 257 years. But even if we had 12 at this second, we'd still be underrepresented in the U.S. Senate. Just think, if I'm elected to the U.S. Senate, I'll be the only active union member in the U.S. Senate. I'd be the only one of 2 parents of an elementary age child in the U.S. Senate. I'd be only one of a handful of small business owners in the U.S. Senate. We need more diverse lived experience, even beyond diversity. And we have to get this done, y'all. That's why this seat is so special. And I've been wanting to shout from the rooftops, and I can't understand. It's like that scene in the Spike Lee movie at the end where he says, "Wake up."
Yeah.
It's like I'm trying to wake folks up about how big a deal this is.
Yes, sir.
People, and they just don't get it because they've never experienced it. And you're right. They got sold hope and change, and nothing changed. And then they got sold Make America Great Again. America got worse.
Yeah.
And so
I want to know when it was great.
people are checking out.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is a chance to grab a Senate seat, y'all. This is a different level. And this is what I'm trying to tell people. That's why I left so much behind for this, because this is an opportunity to make hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars of difference right here. It's that big of a deal.
Listen, no, that's not, and George Holden once, and I think about it, and I was like, Brother Hill, he was on a couple shows. He did a couple. Things. And I was thinking, this guy's coming to leave they probably make good money every show, about $50, you know, whatever it was. A little bit older.
He don't have a car
to do this, and I'm telling you, people, and I'm really talking to the people, just sitting here talking to you, seeing the different interviews, and I started to ask some people. I said, this guy, he legit. There's one thing about Detroiters, we are quick and we are able to identify fraud.
That's right. That's what makes the people so great.
I'm telling you, and I'm telling you, it's so crazy, because I'm like, yo, this brother, he's talking the language of what I'm trying to teach the young people. We got to get involved. We got to stop looking at the shiny new toy and start looking at the people that's going to have immediate impact on our lives on a day-to-day basis.
That's
the
right.
Senators, the state of representatives,
absolutely,
all those people. But go ahead, G. I just wanted to add that, because it just, to hear him say those things is just reaffirming what I thought.
Absolutely. I just think so. For the next, I guess, 48 hours or so, a little bit longer, we've got to reach the people, Rav. We got to get here. We got to get down here every day while Hill is out doing his thing, and my main man Ricky Blocker off Wickham, been knowing him since I was a child, helping him do his thing. It's amazing the education that was just provided. I've had some people text me that I look at and said, "Damn, I almost feel bad I didn't know it." Well, don't feel bad, Kamiko. You got to understand, this was strategically done.
That's right.
This was strategically done, and now we know. So now you know better, you do better.
Yes, sir.
This brother not just seeking attention, man. You think about it. He got a whole lot of attention all his life. This man's been on award-winning. He's award-winning actor, everything. For him to say, you know what, something has to be done for our people, for his son to live a better life, then by all means, we got to understand, if he didn't win this election, he'd live pretty good.
Yes.
He's trying to make this thing better for us. And I think what we got to do right now, everybody, all the pool parties we having today, all the block parties and everything we have in the day. When we go up to Kelly Park, we got to educate these guys. Man, get y'all behinds out here and vote. Get your children in this primary right now, Tuesday. Hey, like my man told Rocky, there is no tomorrow, Rock.
There is no tomorrow.
It's
now or never.
So now it's now. Damn
this is it.
Get out there Tuesday, man.
And you can still vote today. I was out at the corner of Ralston and State Fair. There's a big apartment building there, and we're having like a get out the vote thing, and there was people outside, and I was like, well, you just get it. We had a shuttle. We just get in the shuttle, go vote. I want to tell you, it'll take you 10 minutes. There are all these locations. You can go to hillharbor.com and look up your voting location. If you go to hillharbor.com, it says click here to find your voting location. Just click on, put your address in. That sends you to secretaryofstate.gov. You put your address in, you can see your closest location, and it's easy. When I tell you it's easy, and it's easier to vote today and tomorrow 9 to 5 because there'll be no lines. There'll be no lines. But if you don't do it, you got to vote on Tuesday. Please, y'all. This is too important. Take 10 people with you. Text people about it.
Yeah.
If we turn out, we win this thing. That's what's so crazy about it. We win this if we can get mass turnout. If we had just half of Obama level turnout, we win easily.
No question.
Just half of that, win easily. That's how important this is, and that's how we can do it. We can't look back. Remember, there's never been a black U.S. Senator in Michigan's history, and I'm the first black Democrat on a U.S. Senate ballot in over 30 years.
No, this is a sham.
No, this is
a sham. See, these are things that a lot of people I didn't know. And just because you never really think about them because it's the same old.
Right.
Same old.
Regular
Every 4
routine.
years, we're going to talk about that.
And then we
gonna
damn complain.
and we complain. So now, listen, we got our brother Hill Harper in the basement. We know he has to go. He has to run August 6th, the primary. How many people you want us to take? 10?
I would say 10 to 20 each, or work your phones. Everyone's got at least 100 people in their address book. Just think about this. You could say,
I'm
listen,
on it.
I just heard this brother Hill, on State Champs. I committed to ask 100 people in my phone to get 10 people to go to the polls. That's 1,000 people right there, just from someone's phone book.
No, because I got 1,000 people in my thing. That's stupid, but okay.
Yeah,
That's amazing. You got 1,000 people. Hey, listen, if each of them took 10, if each of them just took 10, even if they took, that's 5,000, 10,000. That changes this dynamic of this whole election. We have that power and ability. Because to your point, I went to some high school reunions last week. There was 3,000-4,000 people there.
Yeah.
Tonight, Kim is playing at the Aretha Franklin.
6,000-7,000.
It will be 6,000-7,000 people there. If each of them just took 5, 6, 7 people, it's a wrap.
Yeah,
It's a wrap.
Man.
And that's our power. So we know how to show up. The thing is, we have to do this. This is it. Primary is it.
This is it.
It's not. This isn't going to come again in another 2 years.
And
This isn't that type of thing.
Yeah.
This is not the House of Representatives. It's a different thing.
it's a whole different thing.
If my opponent wins this primary Tuesday, she may be in that seat for 40 years.
So here's what I want you. I know, and I'm because you're one of those guys. Just talk about some of the things that she didn't do.
Let me tell you.
To talk about some, because I want people to know the things that she didn't do
on so many issues.
Yes, sir.
She didn't co-sponsor the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. I don't even see how you do that. She didn't co-sponsor Medicare for all. Healthcare, there's a healthcare crisis in this country. People are going bankrupt. It's the number one cause of bankruptcies in Michigan. You're not going to co-sponsor Medicare for all. I don't see how you do that. She didn't vote in favor of student loan debt relief in 2020 against the president and her party. 63% of Black wealth goes to paying down student loan debt. Student loan debt is a regressive tax, if y'all didn't know this. It hits poor people by far, poor working class families the hardest by far. On the labor side, she voted against a legislative statute that came up that said if you're a Department of Defense contractor who's receiving public dollars, that means our money, and you participated in unfair labor practices,
Yes, sir.
then you don't get the public's money until you clean those up. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Why should we pay? And the public pays, particularly if you support unions and labor. Why should she voted against that? Okay. She just voted to sanction to not give the State Department funding to study the Gaza Health Ministry's death and injury toll in Gaza. So what? You don't want to know the truth?
You don't want to know the
You
truth.
want to, so there's on every level these. If you're really reductive about these actions, she's been bought. She's been bought by Department of Defense contractors.
No question.
She's been bought by big oil. She's been bought by special interests. So, I mean, that's it. So you think she's going to support,
and she won't
unless
debate.
you got a super PAC and a lobbyist, you ain't getting represented by her.
And she won't debate.
She will not debate, which is another example, because she wants to disrespect the voter, not inform the voter, and not be called on her votes and actions. So she's pulled out of every single debate. That should be right off the top a disqualifier. And in the Democratic Party, let's be honest, because I'm running to hold both parties accountable. Okay, let's be
Let's
be
keep it
clear.
100.
I'm running to hold both parties accountable because they both have been derelict in certain ways.
Absolutely.
And so the Democratic Party establishment has allowed her to get away with this without applying pressure to make sure she debates and be respectful of our community and respectful of the first Black Senate candidate in Michigan, Democrat, in 30 years. Okay, that's number one. We should all be angry about that. It's like I tell my son, I'm not going to reward bad behavior.
I'm not rewarding.
You cannot reward bad behavior with your vote. I mean, every Michigander, regardless of race, should feel that way, because at the same time, you have the Democratic Party establishment railing against Trump for saying he doesn't want to, he's pulled out of that debate with Kamala, right?
Yeah.
So you should be railing. You can't have it both ways.
Oh, man.
You can't go with him saying, "Oh, you won't debate," but then give her a pass.
But you gonna give
when
her a
she won't
pass.
debate. Come on, man.
And so you can't be a
Come on.
you can't be a pancake one day and a waffle tomorrow. That's what
ain't
he's
no
saying.
question about it.
So
Unless
want-
you go to the Detroit Pancake House,
Do it
the
again.
original
See,
house.
there
of
you
He
go.
pancakes.
There you go.
cold-blooded
Now
with
you
it.
cold
You can
with that
get
one.
waffles and pancakes.
Yeah, he in this element. Nah.
So and that because you mentioned the big oil, the pipeline that you
That's right.
want.
I'm the only candidate
Okay,
that wants
talk
to shut
about
down
this.
Line 5. Let's talk about this.
Line
They try to
5. Yes,
pit.
sir.
They try to pit the oil industry. Now, Big Oil in Enbridge, which is a Canadian company, Canada gets 80% of the energy benefit of Line 5, yet Michigan has all the risk. 21% of the world's fresh surface water supply touches Michigan shores and the Great Lakes. There's already been 31 breaches of Line 5.
Yep.
It could poison the Great Lakes in an instant with a breach.
And the
The same
Canadian people
company.
can't get hurt.
And the Canadian people don't get hurt.
But they getting 80%.
They're getting 80% of the energy, and it's a Canadian company. So they're not even, paying their fair share of taxes here. What are we doing?
Who made
What
that
we're doing
deal?
is the representatives have been bought.
Who
Enbridge-
made that deal?
Enbridge is the
pimped.
company that already poisoned the Kalamazoo River in 2010. Had to pay $157 million to clean up the Kalamazoo River. They've already poisoned Michigan rivers. Canadian company. And so it shows you how dark money works in politics. We got threats saying, hey, if you keep talking about this hill, we're going to make sure we run ads to smear your name and da-da-da-da-da. And so again, goes back to my point.
Mhm.
They try to intimidate people out of telling the truth.
Man.
I want my son to be able to go fish and eat the fish that come out of the lakes
you
and the
talking about?
rivers. Come
Yeah.
on, man. And so are our representatives represent the best interests of the people? Or they represent the best interests of the moneyed corporate interest? And we
You
know
already
the
know
answer.
Brother Hill Harper,
We've allowed
truth
this to
teller,
Man, he
change agent.
Hey, listen,
I
this is
mean,
the crazy thing
getting
about it.
done.
folks.
I love the energy. Go ahead, G.
This is the crazy thing about it. And again, the brother's going, and we're going to let him briefly tell his schedule for the next couple of days where he's going. But you've been around this city. You've been campaigning a long time.
Yeah.
You've been with the people. You've been right there in the midst of it. People, this is as large a primary as we'll ever see.
That's right.
We're at the crossroads right now. Now, whether you want to believe it or not, whether it's not that important to you, I tell you what, if whoever wins the election in November as far as the presidency, if we get the right senator in place, if we get the right people in place locally, we'll still be fine. I
That's
just
right.
want you to think about that.
That's absolutely right.
You
That's
think about that.
exactly right.
You can have the wrong president all you want. If you have the right people in your local government, you will be fine. Stop being stupid. And their expectation is we'll continue to be stupid and not understand really what's going on. We better wake the hell up.
We can do this. And anybody who just wants to connect today and vote today, if you come down to Ralston and State Fair, we got a shuttle running continuously to the Palmer Park voting office, which is literally 5 minutes away from there. We're feeding people. There's a company called We Juice that's owned by us. That they're doing juices and smoothies. There's a couple gospel artists.
Okay.
There's a brother who owns like a luxury rental car company that's got some cars out there. I mean, it's just a fun day to try to engage.
Yes, sir.
And it's so easy. And then it doesn't cost anything. We'll take you to the polls and bring you back. It's just easy.
Now, again, this is my sheer ignorance. Now, so today and tomorrow,
You
don't have to go to your specific.
No, you can go to there's over 12 locations in greater Metro Detroit.
People hear this, please. Would y'all
Over
please
12 locations in greater Metro Detroit. I can actually just tell you what they are. So y'all,
As he's pulling it up.
if this hits you, if one of these locations is near you, then it'll let you know. Hold on. Let me do this.
Now, you think
So,
about
Brother
this,
Hill
y'all.
Harper,
Yeah.
he's serious about it. He getting this information out, and we got to do our job, people. We got enough people in our network, G, especially for this. How many friends you got on Facebook?
I don't even want to say.
Yeah. But we
It's
if
over
we gonna hit
5,000.
them. We gonna re-air this a little bit later.
We're gonna
And then-
re-air
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
These are
listen
the
up.
locations. These are all locations open today and tomorrow, 9 to 5.
Let's go.
Adam Butzel Recreation Center.
Hold on. We
10
know out on Bustle. That's our
10,
spot.
10 500 Linden.
We know.
That's open till 5 o'clock today and 5 o'clock tomorrow to vote. Butzel Family Center on Kercheval, 7737 Kercheval. City Clerk's Office at KMAC, 2 Woodward Avenue, downtown. Department of Elections, 2978 West Grand Boulevard, right there on the boulevard.
Mhm.
Farwell Rec Center, 2711 East Outer Drive.
Yeah.
Greater Grace Temple, 23500 West 7 Mile Road. Heilman Recreation, 19601 Crusade. Kemeny Rec Center, 2260 South Fort Street. Northwest Activity Center, 18100 Myers Road. Palmer Park Community House, that's the one that's closest to our thing today at Ralston and State Fair.
Yep.
1121 Merrill, what is that? Plaisance.
Yep. Plaisance.
Plaisance. Wayne County Community College East Campus, 5901 Connor. Wayne County Community College on Outer Drive, 8200 West Outer Drive.
Right around the corner.
Christ Temple Baptist, 10628 Plymouth Road. I mean, that's you live somewhere near one of those. So, I mean, if you live in Detroit, you do. And that's just Detroit, y'all. So think about this. Pontiac, Flint, Muskegon Heights, Benton Harbor, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Holland, Petoskey, Traverse City, Sault Ste. Marie, Marquette, Bay City, Saginaw. We could keep on going. Listen, Jackson, Albion, wherever you are in the state of Michigan, there are open early voting sites today and tomorrow. And then obviously they're open till 5 today and tomorrow. And then on election day, everything is open till 8. On Tuesday the 6th, they're open till 8. They're not open on Monday. So let me be clear about this. Early voting today and tomorrow till 5. Nothing's open on Monday. And then Tuesday is election day. If we turn out all your Facebook people plus 10.
Yes.
All your Instagram people plus 10. All the people in your phone book. Please, y'all. Please.
You talking about Sunday with grandma and them coming from church,
That's
and
right.
they can just
Right
go on and
after
get
church,
it.
they
They
go
can
right
get
to
it
church,
right
they go
after
straight
church. They
on.
can get it done.
And it's 9 to 5 because people ain't going to Sunday school no more. You can get up, get granny, because there will be no lines.
There'll be no lines.
Listen,
no
there will
lines
be no
today and
line.
tomorrow.
So
There's
now
so many locations.
The excuse has been eliminated. Listen, y'all, the excuse has been eliminated. Now, we complain and cry all the time. And most times we only know what the hell we're supposed to be complaining about. We got a large complaint. Do something about it. Hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself responsible.
This is more important than the presidency.
Oh, for sure.
It's not even
telling you.
close.
It's not even for
It's
debate.
not even close.
This is it, y'all. This is it.
Brother Hill Harper.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for being on the show,
All
man.
right,
We
I
appreciate you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. We know you got to run. It's time for him to get out of here.
Ricky Blocker in the building, man.
Ricky Blocker brought him in the
Assistant
building.
coach
last
over
minute.
at Central High School in Detroit, man. His
Man,
daughter's
that's
the head coach over there for the girls.
Man,
If you ever saw my movie, He Got Game, you know I could really play.
Hey, look here. You know what?
that was a little while
Hey,
ago,
listen,
though.
man.
I know.
Hey,
but it's
listen.
still-
And this is the crazy thing
Can you
about it.
still shoot?
What do they call it? What they call it? Muscle memory.
My
Yeah.
son and my 33-year-old, we watch that movie all of the time. Hill, you're a great actor. That's all I'm gonna say.
I was playing with all pros. Okay,
Yeah.
Travis Best. Do we remember him?
What you
Yeah,
talking
but
about?
Walter, Walter
Georgia Tech.
McCarty, John Wallace, Tony Delk.
But you got to remember it was
Vin Baker. Y'all remember
yeah,
Vin
of
Baker?
course we remember Vin.
Yeah.
We
Come on,
hoopers.
man.
We real hoopers. But the thing is,
No.
that y'all was acting.
No,
They
we
were-
weren't acting. I was playing for real. Spike wanted us to play for real.
I love it.
That was for real. It was good, man. It was
Hey,
real
man.
good.
Peace. We'll see you when
Man.
we gon'
We
do
gonna
We
that
gonna
thing.
see. Hey,
We
I'm
gonna
gonna see
win
y'all
this.
Coming
tomorrow.
back on
Rab
the
gonna see
show.
tomorrow. We
Coming
doing
back on
something.
the show as a United States Senator.
Damn.
Down here in the basement. We
Damn.
come back and,
No, it's gonna happen.
and then we're going to talk about what do people want? What do people want me to write into legislation and get resources to? We get that information. That's
The
what
youth.
it's about.
It's about the youth.
That's
We
what it's
got
about.
to get this
We can
youth
fund all this stuff. We
We
can
can do
fund it.
again, brother. Hill Harper. We'll see you.
I gotta take a couple photos with the guy. Shutting it down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Man.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
vote for the judges. Okay? Does that make sense? Here's the partisan section continues on the back. Okay? This is Democrat. You can only vote here. You cannot vote here, even when you flip the back over. Do not vote here. This whole entire ballot will be spoiled. Okay? You can only vote here and then vote on the judicial side. That's it. I know it's confusing. I know it can be hard for some people. You got to vote, but it's just filling in bubbles. Remember, you fill in my bubble.
Yeah, you got to fill in this bubble for sure.
And once you're in this column, that's it. That's it. Okay? Makes sense? Let's go vote. Come on, y'all. This is it.
Peace.
Thank you so much. All right. I got butterflies.
No, it's even.